Tired of buying marketing courses that overpromise and underdeliver? What if you skip the trending hacks and just learn what really works in digital marketing? This episode of Undone Marketing delivers a practical, modern approach, mastering SEO, content, and email before touching paid ads. You'll learn why AI is your assistant, not your savior, and how to get real experience that turns into real results. No fluff, no gimmicks, just a game plan that works. Let's begin.
Welcome to the podcast. So you're here because you want to really get a grip on digital marketing for 2025.
Right, without feeling like your brain's about to explode trying to figure it all out.
Yeah, sound familiar? I think we've all been there, swimming in like outdated advice, scratching our heads.
Mm-hmm. And wondering how some businesses just seem to get it, especially now with AI shaking everything up.
Totally. It can feel like you're decoding some alien language sometimes.
And what worked, maybe even just last year, might be totally useless now. It's easy to feel lost.
Definitely lost in the sheer volume of stuff out there.
So much information.
Exactly. So let's just forget the fluff, the follower counts that don't actually pay the bills.
Mm-hmm. Vanity metrics.
Right. Our mission for this deep dive is to give you a really clear path, no nonsense.
Just how to actually learn this stuff. See, like real results this year. We've tried to cut through the noise for you.
Bring you what truly matters right now.
And that's the key, isn't it? Because there's no shortage of blogs, courses, so-called experts. Everywhere you look.
Yeah. The real trick is knowing where to focus your precious time and energy.
Learn the stuff that will actually move the needle in 2025.
That's what we're diving into today.
Okay, let's unpack this then. One thing that seems pretty obvious, a lot of the, traditional digital marketing education, it hasn't really kept up.
It lags behind, yeah. Things change so fast. Algorithms, trends, AI.
Right, you see courses teaching tactics that just don't work anymore.
That's a huge problem. It's evolving at warp speed, and learning can feel like, studying old maps.
Maps of a city that's been completely rebuilt.
Exactly. You wonder if what you're learning even applies. Have you ever felt that? Like a tutorial shows a platform version that doesn't even exist anymore.
Oh, constantly. It makes you doubt everything you're learning.
And here's where it gets, really interesting. Global digital ad spend. It's projected around, $526 billion this year?
Wow, $526 billion. That's staggering.
It is. It's a massive opportunity, but it also means fierce competition. And learning the wrong things can be a really, really expensive mistake.
Precisely. With that much on the line, you just can't afford to waste time on outdated strategies.
So that brings us to maybe a slightly controversial take.
Possibly.
Yeah.
We really think anyone starting out should focus hard on mastering the free foundational channels first.
Before jumping into paid ads.
Yeah, before even thinking about paid advertising. Things like SEO, content, email marketing.
Okay, let's dig into that. Why that focus first? Why are those so essential?
Well, think of it like building anything. You need a solid structure.
Right.
Paid ads, like the nice paint job, the fancy fixtures. But if you don't have a solid foundation.
Like strong SEO, getting found organically.
Exactly. Or valuable content that keeps people interested. Or email marketing to build those direct relationships.
Then the fancy stuff just doesn't hold up.
Right. It's like building on quicksand. These core skills, SEO, content, email, they're the absolute backbone. Paid ads work best when they amplify something that's already strong.
Okay, so if the old ways are kind of falling behind, what actually is working now in 2025? Let's talk fundamentals.
These are the essentials. SEO, content marketing, email marketing, they're non-negotiable.
The building blocks?
Definitely. If you can figure out how to get people to find you through search, that's your SEO, how to keep them engaged with useful stuff, your content,
right,
and how to build those direct lines, that's email, then you're already way ahead.
Way ahead of someone just throwing money at ads and hoping.
Exactly. Hoping for the best isn't really a strategy.
So where would someone even start learning these? It still sounds like a lot.
The good news is there are some fantastic free resources, like really high quality.
Okay, like what?
Think Google Digital Garage, HubSpot Academy. They offer really solid courses on these core things.
But the trick isn't just watching videos, right?
No, absolutely not. Don't just passively consume. Pick one area, say SEO. Dive deep. Then, immediately apply it.
Do something practical.
Yeah. Write a blog post. Try to optimize it for a keyword. Or map out a basic welcome email sequence. Or draft a simple content calendar.
Actually doing it makes it stick.
That's where the real learning happens. It moves from theory to practice.
It's so tempting, though, isn't it, to jump on the latest shiny trend, the newest platform feature?
Oh, always. Trend chasing is exhausting. But the long-term value, that comes from understanding how to attract, engage, and, convert an audience using these fundamental strategies.
But the principles remain the same, even if the tools change.
Exactly. Trends fade, platforms evolve, algorithms shift. But understanding your audience and giving them value, that's timeless.
You mentioned Airbnb before.
Right, look at Airbnb. They didn't just follow some marketing textbook. They experimented, they iterated, they learned by doing.
And built a huge brand.
A huge, strong brand, focusing on creative content, user-generated stuff, really connecting with people, not just shouting features.
Okay, let's zero in on SEO for a minute. Especially with AI now, like Google's search generative experience. People might wonder, does SEO even matter anymore?
That's a really common question right now. And the short answer is absolutely yes. SEO is still incredibly important.
Still crucial, even with AI summaries popping up.
Yep. Because while AI is changing how results are presented, people are still using search engines constantly to find answers, solutions, products.
So the underlying need is still there.
Exactly. And what's interesting is how this pushes us to focus even more intensely on user intent. What does someone really mean when they search for something?
So less about just stuffing keywords in.
Right, much less. It's about genuinely understanding the problem someone is trying to solve or the question they're asking.
More about empathy, almost.
In a way, yes. Think about a fight like NerdWallet. They dominate personal finance search results. Why?
Their content is usually super helpful, really specific.
Precisely. They create ultra-specific, problem-solving content. It's designed for users first, algorithms second. That's the key now. Create for humans with real needs.
So what's the actionable advice then for someone learning SEO in this AI-driven landscape?
Okay, instead of going straight for those big, broad, super competitive keywords.
Which are really hard to rank for anyway.
Right. Focus on uncovering those more specific long-tail keywords. The longer phrases people use when they have a very particular question.
Like best running shoes for flat feet beginner under $100.
Exactly like that.
Yeah.
Tools like Ahrefs are great for finding these. Then create really in-depth, high-quality content that directly answers that specific query.
Quality over quantity again.
Definitely. It's often way more effective to create one truly excellent piece, optimize it thoroughly, promote it well, than churn out 10 mediocre articles.
Makes sense. Okay, let's switch gears. Email marketing. You said it's still incredibly valuable, even though it's like ancient in internet years.
Ancient, but powerful. The ROI is just hard to ignore. That average figure, like $36 back for every $1 spent, that's compelling.
Wow, why is it still so effective?
It's that direct line. Unlike social media, where algorithms decide who sees what, email lets you talk directly to people who've explicitly opted in. They've said, yes, talk to me.
But isn't everyone's inbox just overflowing? How do you avoid being noise?
That's the million-dollar question. And the answer is segmentation. Mastering segmentation is crucial.
So not sending the same email blast to everyone.
Absolutely not. That's spammy and ineffective. The real power in 2025 is personalization, delivering value tailored to different segments of your audience.
Like Spotify Wrapped.
Perfect example. They use your listening data to create something super personalized, engaging, something people actually look forward to and share. That's leveraging data for relevance.
So for someone just starting with email, what are the key first steps?
First, get comfortable with email automation basics. Understand how sequences work. You don't need to be a coding genius.
Okay, automation. What else?
Set up a simple, effective welcome series for new subscribers. Use a tool like MailChimp or Klaviyo. There are lots of good options.
And metrics. What should you track?
Focus on engagement. Click-through rates are key. Are people actually clicking links in your emails? That tells you much more than just list size. A huge list of unengaged people isn't valuable.
Got it. Engagement over just numbers. Now let's talk content creation itself. You stress doing this before paid ads. Why is content the prerequisite?
Because your content is what pulls people in organically. It builds trust. It establishes you or your brand as a valuable resource.
It's the substance behind the promotion.
Exactly. Ads can amplify reach, but if you send people to weak or irrelevant content, you're just burning money. The content has to deliver.
You brought up Airbnb's night at campaigns again. What's the lesson there for content creators?
It's about brilliant storytelling, using user-generated content effectively, building a brand through experiences and community, not just constant sales pitches.
It felt authentic.
Very authentic. It wasn't just fluff. It built trust and desire in a really creative way. They let their users and unique locations be the heroes.
So for someone starting out, maybe feeling overwhelmed by the need to constantly publish, what's a smarter approach?
Don't fall into the trap of thinking you need massive quantity right away. Focus instead on creating maybe one really strong pillar piece of content.
A pillar piece, like what?
Could be an in-depth guide, a comprehensive case study,
Yeah.
a foundational article covering a key topic for your audience thoroughly. Something substantial.
And then, what do you do with this pillar piece?
Then you repurpose it. Break it down into smaller blog posts, social media snippets, maybe short videos, infographics. Get the most mileage out of that high-quality work.
Quality over quantity and smart repurposing.
That's the sustainable way to approach it.
Okay, we can't avoid the elephant in the room anymore.
Yeah.
AI, ChatGPT, Jasper, Midjourney, they're everywhere in marketing talk. How should a learner approach these tools in 2025?
Right. It's crucial to see AI as a powerful tool, an assistant.
Yeah.
It's there to support your creativity and boost efficiency.
But it's not a replacement.
Definitely not a replacement for strategy or creativity, and certainly not a marketing strategy in itself. There's a real danger of losing your unique brand voice if you rely on it too heavily.
That BuzzFeed example you mentioned earlier.
Exactly. When they leaned heavily into AI for content, their stock actually dipped. It highlighted how much audiences value that human element, that personality.
Authenticity matters. AI-generated content can feel generic.
It often can, yeah. It can lack that spark, that unique perspective. People connect with people.
So what's the smart way to use AI then, practically speaking, when you're learning?
Focus on getting good at prompting. Learning how to give AI clear, effective instructions is a skill in itself.
So it gives you useful starting points.
Useful starting points, ideas, outlines.
Yeah.
Yes. But then, and this is critical, you have to edit, refine, add your own insights, your voice, make it valuable and aligned with your brand.
So use Jasper for brainstorming, maybe ChatGPT for audience personas or FAQs.
Great examples. Use it for ideation, for research assistance, but always add that human touch before anything goes live. Your creativity is still your biggest advantage.
It sounds like AI is best used for automating some of the grunt work.
That's a great way to put it. Automating less strategic tasks, initial research, drafting outlines, testing headlines. This frees you up for the higher level strategic thinking and creative work.
So get comfortable with tools like ChatGPT, Jasper, maybe Surfer CO for SEO tasks.
Yes, getting familiar is definitely beneficial. Use them for brainstorming, drafting ad copy variations, developing personas, analyzing trends.
But always with human oversight.
Non-negotiable. Learn to prompt well, edit critically, inject your own voice. That's the key.
Okay, we've covered fundamentals, tools, AI. But what about actually getting good? You keep emphasizing hands-on experience.
Because that's where it all clicks, honestly. You can absorb theory forever, but digital marketing is learned by doing.
Why is practical application so much more effective?
Real projects force you to make actual decisions, troubleshoot unexpected problems, adapt on the fly, things you just don't encounter in a tutorial.
It builds that practical wisdom.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That experience you mentioned, volunteering for a small business.
Right. Tell us more about why that was so important for you.
It was absolutely pivotal. It pushed me way outside my niche, forced me to learn how to communicate with a real client, understand their unique challenges and goals. I had to figure things out.
So you'd recommend learners seek out similar opportunities?
100%. Look for small freelance gigs, even create mock campaigns for practice, build a personal blog or website on something you care about.
Just start building something.
Yes. Marketing is a craft. Like any craft, you hone it through practice, through repetition, through trying things.
It sounds like it's really easy to get stuck just consuming information, right? Reading blogs, watching videos.
It's such a common pitfall. People prioritize passive learning over active execution. But think about it. If you've read 10 amazing guides on SEO, but you've never actually tried to optimize a single page, do you really know SEO?
Good point. Probably not in a practical sense.
Exactly. Execution is where the true learning solidifies. So build something, volunteer, put yourself in situations where you have to figure things out.
And that process probably helps you discover what you actually enjoy, too. What parts of marketing click for you?
Absolutely. By trying different things, writing content, managing social, digging into analytics, setting up email flows, you naturally start to see where your strengths and interests lie.
Which can lead to specializing down the road.
Precisely. That practical experience is invaluable for finding your niche.
Okay, so with all this information flying around, courses, blogs, social media feeds, how do you avoid just getting completely overwhelmed, spending all your time consuming, not doing?
Yeah, information overload is real. This is where curating your learning becomes super important. You need to be strategic.
Strategic about what you let in.
Exactly. And balancing intake with application. You don't need to read every article or follow every single guru.
So how do you curate effectively? What's the process?
Identify a small handful of truly trusted, experienced voices. People who consistently provide high-quality, current insights.
Like Rand Fishkin or Mari Smith, you mentioned?
Yeah, people like that who have deep, practical experience. Also, find a few niche newsletters or publications that are really focused and well-regarded, like Marketing Brew for concise industry news.
So build a curated feed instead of just drinking from the fire hose.
Precisely. A focused feed of reliable, modern voices beats scattered, potentially outdated advice from random Google searches every time.
And given how fast things change, staying current is key.
It is. Continuous learning has to be part of the job, really. It's not a one-time thing.
So practical tips for staying current without it feeling overwhelming.
Subscribe to maybe 2 or 3 key industry newsletters, search engine journals, social media examiner, things like that. Follow a curated list of marketers you respect on LinkedIn or X.
Listen to relevant podcasts, maybe.
Yeah, podcasts like Marketing Over Coffee are great for absorbing insights during commutes or downtime. It just needs to become a regular, manageable habit.
Part of staying relevant in the industry.
Essential for staying relevant.
This whole journey, it sounds like it requires more than just skills. It needs a certain mindset.
Oh, absolutely. The right mindset is arguably just as important as the technical skills.
And what mindset is that?
It's really embracing a growth mindset. Being open to experimentation, learning fast from both wins and losses, and just being adaptable.
Adaptable because things change so fast.
Constantly. You can't be afraid to try things, see what happens, and adjust. You're not expected to have all the answers up front.
Can you share an example? How has that growth mindset helped you?
Sure. I remember testing different keyword strategies early on. Some drove great traffic, others were, frankly, duds.
Right. Happens to everyone.
But because I was tracking everything using Google Analytics, SEMrush, I could see the data. I didn't just get discouraged by the failures.
You treated it as feedback.
Exactly, as valuable data. It showed me what not to do, helped me refine the approach, and ultimately led to much better results. That willingness to test, analyze, learn, repeat, it's crucial.
So failure isn't the end, it's just data.
Pretty much. It's a necessary step. I had an ad campaign last year. Initial results were terrible, just awful.
Oh, no.
But we dug into the data, figured out the messaging wasn't resonating. We completely rewrote the ad copy based on that feedback.
Oh.
Conversion rates jumped 40%. That success came directly from analyzing the failure and adapting.
That's powerful. You also mentioned specialization earlier. How does mindset connect to finding your niche?
Well, a mistake I think a lot of people make, myself included early on, is trying to be a jack of all trades. Know a little bit about everything. If I were starting over, I'd encourage exploring different areas, but then focusing, developing deep expertise in 1 or 2 areas you genuinely connect with.
Why is specialization so valuable?
Being a generalist gets you started, but specialization is how you become a recognized expert, how you offer unique, high-level value. For me, that eventually became visual social platforms.
Like Instagram, Pinterest?
Right. I dove deep, studied what worked, experimented constantly, tracked everything. My advice is try different things. See what clicks, what you enjoy and seem good at, then double down. Focus your learning there.
Like Brian Dean with SEO at Backlinko.
Perfect example. His laser focus on SEO made him a go-to authority. Specialization builds reputation and expertise.
Okay, one last area. Learning doesn't happen in a bubble, right?
You mentioned connection.
Absolutely not. Trying to learn all this complex stuff in isolation is harder and, frankly, less fun.
Community helps.
Massively. Connecting with other marketers, asking questions, sharing struggles, getting feedback from peers. It accelerates learning hugely.
So how can people actually build those connections, especially if they're just starting?
Look for opportunities online and offline. Are there local marketing meetups, industry events nearby, even virtual ones?
What about online communities? Definitely. Join relevant Slack channels, Facebook groups, LinkedIn communities focused on digital marketing or specific niches within it. Be active. Ask questions. Offer help when you can.
Get advice, feedback, maybe even find collaborators.
Exactly. I joined a local meetup years ago, ended up collaborating on a small project with someone I met there, learned a ton. Think about Moz. They built their brand as much on community as on their tools.
So community is a real competitive advantage.
A significant advantage. Don't underestimate the power of your network.
Okay, let's try to quickly recap the big takeaways for everyone listening who might be feeling overwhelmed.
Oh, good.
So first, really focus on those fundamentals. SEO, content, email. Get those right before worrying too much about paid ads.
Absolutely. Build the foundation first.
Second, use AI smartly as a tool, an assistant. Don't let it replace your voice or strategy.
Prompt well, edit well, add your human touch.
Third, prioritize getting hands-on experience. Doing is learning. Volunteer, build personal project, get freelance gigs.
Can't stress that enough. Practical application is key.
Fourth, be smart about information. Curate your sources. Focus on trusted, current voices. Don't drown in random content.
Quality over quantity in learning, too.
Fifth, cultivate that growth mindset. Experiment, learn from mistakes, adapt constantly.
Treat failures as feedback.
Sixth, think about specialization eventually. Find what you love and get really good at it.
Become the go-to expert in your chosen niche.
And finally, don't learn in isolation. Connect with other marketers. Build your network.
Community makes the journey easier and more effective.
That feels like a really solid roadmap.
Yeah, I think that covers the core of navigating this space in 2025. And remember, the absolute most important thing, take action.
Don't get stuck in analysis paralysis.
Exactly. Start doing. Start experimenting.
And we'd love to hear from you, the listener. Your experiences, your questions. You can connect with us on your preferred social platform or shoot us an email at your contact info.
Yeah, share your learning journey. Remember, in digital marketing, it really is the doers who get the results.
And maybe a final thought to leave everyone with.
Just keep learning, keep adapting. This feels never stand still, and that's part of the excitement, right? Continuous learning isn't optional. It's the game.
Couldn't agree more. Thanks for tuning in to The Deep Dive.
We'll catch you next time.
That's a wrap for this episode of Undone Marketing. If you liked what you heard, don't stop here. Check out our other episodes for more straight takes on today's hottest marketing topics. New episodes dropping weekly, so hit follow and stay ahead of the game. Got a question or topic you want us to tackle? Find us online and let's keep the conversation going. See you next time.